of the things I'm always grateful for in this is the reminder that I'm not from here. If you think that everything in eternity functions in alignment with God's will as it's meant to be, as the pure expression of his love, his extension of himself, or its extension of itself, everything here is the opposite of that. It extends or projects miscreatively as form association. It's like shining the light through the crystal, and instead of getting a perfect light out the other side, you get the fracturedism of the different ray associations with colour and everything. It's still creation, but it's a different form of creation. So whenever I have an expectation here or anything like that, and which is pretty rare these days, but very rare in fact. I'm trying to think when I had, well, apart from the one that I'm making this video about, it always reminds me that everything here doesn't function according to my will, but according to the divine will, as above, so below. And what I think is reasonable to expect from one situation, person or event or another, compared to other ones that I've experienced in the past or hope for in the future, etc., isn't going to pan out. So in the, I guess you could say, disappointment, but in the not really a disappointment, but in the gratitude for the reminder, I'm always reminded, it's like, oh yeah, nothing here works. Nothing here is exactly how it really should be. Everything's split into polar opposites of right and wrong, and on time and not on time, and things like that. So there's nothing I can say about anything here in time and space other than that it's not my home, which is what Jesus teaches us in the New Testament. It's like, this world is not your home. Where I am going, you are from, and you will be going to after me. So something like that anyway in the New Testament. So I'm always grateful. Wow, thanks for reminding me that I'm not from here. Thanks for reminding me this place is not my home. And it helps to release, or it totally releases, actually. It doesn't help to release, it does release the stress and anxiety of time traveling, of living in time, living in place and location, and all of the parameters that sort of fall into that as what I think place and location entail. Past and future, broken up into all the little segments of what I call the years and the months and everything in between. So thanks for reminding me I'm not from here. And in that I learn not to have expectations of how I think things should look, but rather to trust the divine process of all things and allow for the nature of the orchestration of all things to be revealed to me as being divine here, as above, so below. And everything's to bring out your gratitude. I've had so many moments, so many encounters since comprehending, I guess, since understanding the nature of the universal curriculum as taught in A Course in Miracles. I've had so many encounters where I've been reminded again and again not to expect, not to hope, because hope is the denial of certainty, and God's promise is certain through his Son, Jesus Christ. So The resurrection is already complete. I don't need to worry. I don't need to fuss about anything. And just to live in the resurrection and to stay in the resurrection. Don't let my mind wander back into time traveling as it did last night for a moment. And getting somewhat concerned about things. But the funny thing is that in the moment that I realised I was concerned about things, it brought my mind back out of time travelling and back into the present moment, where I realised that everything's always perfect. Nothing to worry about. Everything will occur exactly as it's meant to occur, in the manner it's meant to occur in, and I don't need to have a say in it, which is very nice. And that's a huge lesson. Like, if you're just starting out in this, you'll catch yourself, maybe watch this video a couple of times, but you'll catch yourself falling into the trap of mind wandering, where you wander off into the future, worried about timing of things, or worried about the orchestration of things, what it should look like and whatever. But you've got to remember that you're in a process of surrendering individual will. You're in a process of surrendering the idea or the belief in free will, because there really actually isn't any idea of free will. Whatever decisions have led you to this point have been perfect, and every orchestration of every moment and every happening up until this point has been perfect to get you here. And if you can think of time and space, or the third dimension, as like a maelstrom of, well, it is really. I mean, if you look at it through a telescope, even on the macrocosm, it's a maelstrom of just things spinning around and coming into alignment and then disappearing again. And there are these magical moments where things just automatically line up, and then boom, they're gone. And the temptation of the mind is to want to hold them in those magical moments where they all line up, or those miraculous moments where they all line up. And of course you can't do that. You can't stop the flow of the river. You can't stop the flow of life. So learning to go with the flow then is, and that's exactly what it is. That's what this video is about. I'll probably title it that, learning to go with the flow. You just got to let go and let God. And trust the process, trust divine will, and thy will be done, Father. When you realise that God's will for you is perfect happiness, and you can only find that perfect happiness by finding God within you in this moment, it's like, through that avenue, through that portal of perfect peace in the here and the now, I find the presence of God within me again. Like that. And it may take you some effort at meditation for a while, for many years perhaps, but there's nothing else here to do. There's nothing else better worth your time and, so to speak, in time and space, other than learning to become miracle-minded. Miracle-mindedness leads to revelation readiness. Revelation readiness leads to an experience beyond the physical nature of life. And you have to be kind of prepared for it. You can't ever really be prepared for it. I mean, it's so... But in a sense, you have to be trained to comprehend and to acknowledge that is what is going to happen. So that when it happens, you don't lose your marbles and end up in the nut house, another version of a nut house. This whole world is a kind of a nut house, a divine nut house. But not to be laughed at. I mean, it's tragic if you really understand the scope of it, but Jesus says that in the Course, delay in time is tragic indeed. So I'm not from here, and because mind training is my most important thing in this world, I'm always grateful for the reminders. I'm always grateful to be pulled up on my erroneous thoughts to the contrary that try to tell me that there's something other than the will of God occurring in any moment. because quite frankly, there isn't, my dear. It's lovely. We've got a Zoom meeting on Monday. Going back to Mondays now that I'm headed back to my earthly home near the Gold Coast anyway. Zoom meeting, and we're going to try and do a proper light session, because I want to try and feel into why I seem to perceive some sort of difference between doing a light session within physical proximity to other people, associations, etc., and why I think there's a difference doing it online. I think that's what we're going to do anyway. The Spirit will direct. I'm just opening it up for that. But if it doesn't happen, so be it, But sometimes these little anomalies will come along, and they're not really anomalies. They're never anomalies. They're always the will of God. The anomaly is that I can't see the will of God in it. I can't see the perfect structure in it. I mean, I'm quite willing to accept that if there is some kind of difference and that's above my pay grade, so be it. But I have asked for clarity on the situation and haven't received anything, which is kind of strange. I actually did. No, tell a lie. I did receive something. I received to play the music and do the light session. That's what I was prompted to do, of course. See how you expect your information and your answer to your prayer to look a certain way. It's funny. Keep my dunce hat on. We're all just walking each other home. It's beautiful. Anyway, just a short one today. That's it. I really don't have much more to say. I just wanted to talk about that expectations, and more importantly, I guess, in that is the idea of hope, because a lot of people hope. It's like I remember reading in the Old Testament somewhere, I think it might have even been Exodus. No, before Exodus. Might have been the creation story. It might have been Genesis. But anyway, I read somewhere, and it's early on, where it says, "Give up all hope, all who enter this place." I think that's the Old Testament. Might have to Google that up. Give up all hope. Literally, when you can see that giving up all hope is a stepping point to understanding that hope is not required, because the certainty of the will of God is all-encompassing. And all I'm doing then, instead of hoping and wrenching my heart in hope, I'm learning to trust to the point where my trust and my faith is supported to such a degree that I no longer need faith. Faith is its own reward. It's like once you practice faith for such a while and in all your affairs, eventually what happens is your faith builds in its own strength. You become so faithful, I guess, that there's no doubt in your mind that you're supported by a higher power. And that was a tipping point for me in the dark night of my soul, actually. I'd been having all these incidents of being supported in my endeavours to take leaps of faith and make bold experiments with faith, that it became untenable to me that I could know that I was supported by a higher power and still yet not know the higher power directly. And that set me into a very dark downward spiral called the dark night of your soul. And from that point, I had a miraculous occurrence, hearing the voice from the sky, the ground and everywhere, and was led 3 days later to a place where I had my full out of body, no world, no body, no universe, spiritual awakening, and found myself back in eternity. Just for a very brief but when I say I found myself, it wasn't really that not Dave. Dave collapsed on the floor in the healing center, and the real Dave, Christ Dave, awoke in eternity to remember itself perfectly. But because God is all-encompassing, that even permeated into the dream Dave, into the conscious level of mind, and wreaked havoc for many years. Wreaked a lot of havoc for many years with my sanity. And if it wasn't for the workbook of A Course in Miracles and all the beautiful people that were at that healing center, man. And I know I talk about that a lot. You guys are probably bored with hearing about it. But anyway. I did say Zoom meeting, didn't I? Zoom meeting this Monday. No charge. The Zoom meetings are no charge. Sometimes people ask me, what do you charge for those Zoom meetings? If you do want to join, just contact Tyna. Her details will be down below in pretty much all of my videos. And she will add you to the list with the link, etc. I don't know how that all works. She does all that sort of stuff for me. Update 2 on the little books that we're getting printed. We have accepted the quote from India, and Annie is onto it. They're now printing us a single proof of exactly how it will be printed, sending that to her. She's going to proofread it. If she approves the proof, then they go straight to print. So it's taken a fair bit longer than I thought, but we're almost there. So there's 1,000 coming to Australia, 2,000, we're going to do 3,000, 2,000 are going to the United States, and Tyna will ship them around the country, the world, whatever, from there. And we probably, I think, will have a little bit of money left over to send to Tyna for that shipping purposes. I know it's not very expensive to ship within the United States, but we are sending some to Tobago, and some to the Netherlands, and some to England, I think. I think some are going to England. Anyway. All right, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps. It helps to get the message out. You're whole and perfect. You are spirit, not the flesh. There's nothing to worry about. God's in charge. You're not in charge. If you don't know what God is, stop trying to be in charge and you'll find out. All right, love you.